Welcome to the Real Talk Podcast, Off the Record, the Real Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Allie Braswell. You know, if it's 6 o'clock on a Wednesday, it's time for Off the Record, where we have unscripted, unfiltered, unapologetic conversation about those leadership nuggets and those conversations that you wish you were a part of in order to grow your career. Whether you're a new leader that's just getting started in leadership or a seasoned person in the C-suite, this is that opportunity to learn from some of the incredible leaders that I have on this show. And sitting next to me is just an incredible leader that is going to bring in episode 2 of our Voices of Leadership series. You remember last week we actually sat down and we talked with Daphne Davis, Brigadier General retired. Well, you know what? I went up a level, folks. I went and found another good friend, Major General Robert Edmonson II. Commanding General, someone who has done an expansive time in the United States Army, but I'm not going to tell you his resume. I'm going to ask you to share, Robert. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And first of all, happy Veterans Day to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Wonderful.
Not to mention 250 years in the Marine Corps. You know, this guy had an Army rivalry happening here.
That's right. That's right. But we all come together.
And the Army celebrated their 250th in June. So, you know, folks, people standing on the front lines, and we have a frontline leader here is going to talk with us about the voice of influence. Please share a little bit of your resume and a little bit of your history, your walk through the United States Army.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, I am absolutely blessed. I tell you what, I had the honor of serving in the United States military for 33 years, and I never thought that I would have served that long. That wasn't a part of the original plan. It just so happened that it was a good fit for both my family and myself. I've had an incredible opportunity to become an airborne paratrooper. I've served inside the Pentagon, commanded at multiple levels. My last position was as commanding general of Aberdeen Proving Ground in Maryland, as well as the commanding general of Communications Electronics Command. An awesome experience, great people, yes, and I wouldn't have changed a thing. It was a wonderful, wonderful experience.
You know what? And where General Edmonson and I met was first right here at the Florida Classic football game. I didn't know when I was inviting the Undersecretary of the Army, Ryan McCarthy at the time, to come and visit us for this little Florida football classic. And folks, this is also an individual that understands HBCU football and HBCU environments, because when he came, we spent time, we took him to lunch at the Classic. He got to sit with some of the players, meet some of the people, and represent our United States Army very well. But I think the most important time was when he was in the stadium walking around, and I saw that leadership influence that we talk about when he just took time just to talk with people. Yeah. Just to share with people.
You know, that was one of the best moments. I know that we came down here, we had a program, we had an agenda, but it was wonderful to be able to get out there in the stadium, meet the students, meet the families, have conversations, let people know that although I was wearing a uniform at the time, I'm a real person just like they are. And I also wanted to take that as an opportunity to let them know a little bit about the opportunities that the military afforded me that I frankly didn't see coming. And one of my aims right now in life is to ensure that the opportunities that I had are not a surprise to others. I want others to have the opportunity to learn, to grow. Again, I can't, understate it, wouldn't have changed a thing, but I didn't see it coming. Was very, very surprised at how well everything worked out. A lot of hard work, a lot of mentorship, and we're going to talk about that in a moment. But I'm committed right now to ensuring that other people have that opportunity just like I did.
See, and let's talk about your opportunity. Where'd you go to school?
I went to a very small state college in Western Maryland, Frostburg State University. My wife is an HBCU grad. She's a Fayetteville State grad. Our youngest son attended Hampton University, and our oldest son attended the College of William and Mary. So a little bit of everything is inside of our family.
And from that humble beginning to Major General, that was quite an journey. It really wasn't about titles. It really was about the consistency of being present.
Yeah. You are so right. And this is something that probably doesn't get talked about enough. We can easily find ourselves focusing in on title, rank, position, role, and that'll get you so far, but it'll only get you so far. And sometimes I like to think about authority
Yes.
as like a resume. And a resume is what will get you in the door for an interview, and then it's over to you to deliver. The authority, the role gets you in the door. The question then becomes, what are you going to do as a leader? What type of leader are you going to be? Are you going to be that type of leader that only looks at your collar, that only looks at your nameplate, if you will? Or are you going to be the type of leader that really wants to reach out and connect with people on another level so that you can then help them become the best that they can be and help the organization thrive in ways that would be unimaginable had you not been there as an authentic, caring leader?
See, and that's where I think influence, but it's also something that you alluded to. Let's just bring it out. Emotional intelligence. You have to understand how to reach people where they are. I love it when you talk about taking the stars off, taking the name tag off, and just really being Robert for a moment while you were leading as a leader of leaders. Speak to that just for a moment.
I'm going to be frank. This is not something that I was taught in school. It's something that I experienced. I had the benefit of working for phenomenal leaders at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, many years ago. And just two examples, without mentioning any names, is that there was one individual who led through authenticity. And that individual rose to be a 4-star general. And he was not a 4-star general when we worked together in the 90s, but there was something special about him. And the point here is that as an authentic leader, I never wanted to let him down. As one of his subordinates, what he left with me when he was not in the room, his presence, once he was gone, was to not let that person down because I knew he was a good leader. I felt like he was a good leader and that he was in it for the right reasons. And so authenticity is something that I learned along the way. While I was also at Fort Bragg during those years, I learned a little bit about connection. I had a boss, another person who rose to a very high level, but he was not at a high level at that time. He connected with me in a way that no one had before. And that's because he was open to wanting to connect with people on their level, meet them where they are. He said to me one day when we were working through a problem, he said, "Robert, I need you to take your job personal, but I don't need you to take it personally."
Wow.
That.
Let's pause. Say that again and talk right there to them directly. This is a golden nugget moment, folks.
All right. Do not take your job personal, but take it personally. And that put me in a position to really understand a couple of things. Number one, he really valued me and he valued what I brought to the team. He knew that we were working through hard IT problems at that time. But he also knew that he didn't want me to walk away believing that I needed to take fault, that I was the problem, that everything that we had to work through that is something that I did not do. No, that's the exact opposite.
Right.
He knew that my craft, our craft, was tough business. And he was letting me know to take it personal in terms of my professional development.
Correct.
Take it personal in terms of helping him as the commander understand how he could help me. But don't take it personally to the point where it starts to bring you down and you don't perform as well as you otherwise would.
Man, that's such a nugget. So whether you're a brand new leader or you're a seasoned leader, I can't think of it. I've never heard it put better, because a lot of times we'll start to personalize things and take it personally, and it takes us off course. And then we begin to see us not give our best or begin to kind of get into our own head a lot of times. But having the emotional intelligence, your leaders knew how to meet you where you were, give you words of guidance that encouraged and uplifted you. And that's, again, the power of influence. That's right. And look where it took them, though. See, I was told that if you want to get somewhere, it's not about the ribbons you put on your chest. Captain Dempsey Stowers, God rest his soul, told a young E3 in the Marine Corps, as I'm sitting there looking at this incredible resume on his chest. And he says, "I didn't earn a single one. My men did." He says, you want to get somewhere, make sure you uplift other people. Another gentleman that came along later in life for me, John C. Maxwell, says it better: help others get to where they want to be, and you'll arrive where you need to be.
That's right.
And I think that's what you're talking about here, leveraging your influence to be able to make a difference and make a positive move in that, and so what story from your leadership that they could tell about you when you're not in the room? What would they speak and say about Robert Edmonson? What type of leader would others say about you? Not to put you on the spot,
but I appreciate the question. I've spoken about it before, not what people would say about me. I'll get around to that in just a second. But what you're talking about, I believe, is presence.
Yes.
And I like to define presence, and this is not defined by Merriam-Webster, so I apologize up front. But I've said a couple of times in a number of different settings that presence is the feeling that you have left behind for others to consider in a room while working that you are not in, or a room that you are no longer in with them. What have you left behind? And so when you talk about what people would say about me, I would hope that they would believe, or that they would say that I'm a genuine leader, that I'm an authentic leader, a caring leader, a humble leader, and one that is motivated by doing what is best for the organization and what is best for my subordinates or my team. I come second or third to them all the time.
See, and that's what I've always learned and always heard. One of the things, folks, that we want you to take away from this is that golden nugget. We got two of them now. One, it was about, take it personal, give it your best, make sure it's your best effort, but don't take it personally. And then now we're talking about the authenticity of what is being said when you're not in the room. Remember, with the Off the Record, the Real Talk podcast, we talk about the conversations that take place when you leave. And as I shared in one of my books, I was telling people that it's the reputation that arrives before you ever get there, and it's the one they talk about when you leave. And I think that's what you're reflecting on right here.
Your reputation will always precede you. Whether you like it or not, the fact of the matter is, once you are hired for a position, considered for a position, or someone knows that you're going to come in and join the team at a certain level, people are going to begin to talk. We're human beings, and they're going to say whatever it is that they feel or whatever they've heard about you. And that's not wrong. It's not bad. It's just something that, can I say, we're talking to leaders right now. This is off the record, right?
This is off the record. Let's tell them.
Okay. The fact of the matter is your reputation will arrive before you arrive.
That's right.
And you only have one reputation. So it's important for you to protect it.
Well, and I remember, serving as a civilian aide to the Secretary of the Army as a CASA. A lot of times when we meet general officers, they may or may not be aware of what that role is. And so we had to often win their support or gain their support based upon a resume that was forwarded to them, to let them know who was about to enter the room. And I will tell you that they're not always depending on the aide to just give them everything. People like Rob go and investigate you, look you up on your LinkedIn. They take a look at your social media because they want to know, am I associating my brand with somebody that's going to take me to the next level or help me maintain? So that's so important to tell them that, and that's a piece of influence, folks. So you might say, why is that coming up? Your reputation is a source of influence about who you are. When your reputation will show up before you ever do, whether it's good or where it's not so good. And so one of the things I tell young people, especially new leaders, is be careful what you put in the social media world. Because a lot of times when you're applying for new positions and new roles, people are going to look at that and say, well, I'm getting ready to hire them to be supervisor over others. Well, I might have some questions about their integrity. I might have some questions about their association. And you may not want to hear that, but that's the old head coming out, letting you know, because I want you to be prepared to win at every opportunity that you get a chance. Again, this is that real talk.
Well, Allie, what you're also saying is that leadership is not a part-time business.
No, it's not.
You're not a leader from 9 to 5. And so when you go home at 5 o'clock, whatever it is that you do, whatever it is that you don't do, whatever it is that you post, whatever it is that you don't post. The fact of the matter is leadership is a full-time business. It is something that you can't do part-time. You don't take time off. You don't clock in. You don't clock out as a leader. You are always on display as a leader, and you are always representing something larger than self as a leader. So when you do make a decision to post, say, do, dress, attend, that's fine. We're not saying don't do that. But what we are saying is understand that it is a part of who you are, is a part of building your reputation, is a part of your brand, and it'll become a part of your resume.
How has that helped you during your career is to make sure that, again, you attain the rank of Major General. There have been many people who never even come close. But how is being cognizant of that and managing that 24/7, 365, how did that help you get to where you got to?
I had an incredible opportunity to model behavior. And I modeled a lot of my behavior behind and about some of the individuals that I worked for over years. And so that incredible opportunity allowed me to just take a look and realize that if someone got something right, then maybe I ought to consider doing business the way in which they're doing business. If they've attained a position, I used to say to some of my mentees that would ask, well, how is it that I can get to the next level? How is it that I can become person X or person Y or like them? I'd say read their bio. And when you read their bio, what you'll really see is all the hard work and the dedication and the commitment that's gone into getting that individual to the point in life that they're at. And then what you do is simply model that kind of behavior. Adjust it to your own leadership style. You can't become someone that you're not, but you can adjust some of the principles of leadership, some of those golden nuggets to fit your personality. And then to also fit the organization that you're a part of. But I've also got to add here, and I've been thinking about, well, let me rephrase it. I never planned to become a major general.
Right.
You have to be in it for the organization. And I paused on that because it does make me a little uncomfortable every now and then. I appreciate the accolades. The fact of the matter is I didn't plan to become a general officer. All I wanted to do was do my job, take care of my people. I did that at the 4-year mark. I did it at the 8-year mark, collaborated with my wife. 8 turned into 20 years of service, 20 turned into 26, and then 33. And I think what really helped me as an individual was to always place something greater than self. We talk about selfless service,
yes,
service to nation in what I do or what I used to do. Well, whether you're in the military or the corporate sector or nonprofit, I'm a firm believer in placing the mission and the goals of your organization well above your own.
That's right. And a lot of times in leadership, people will say, well, I'm striving. But when you place the organization first, you end up arriving right along with the organization. I reflect back on being the leader of the Urban League here in Orlando and inherited it when it wasn't at its greatest. But what I believed in is that it was bigger than me. Kind of how I serve in fraternity life. The fraternity is bigger than me. And by doing so, I want to make sure, though, that my station and my place within that organization, I'm giving my best. And I think that's what you talk about when you say, take it personal. Yeah. But I don't take it personally if we're not achieving everything I think we should be doing, because Allie has his own vision, but the organization has a vision. But, when you're leading people and you're inspiring people to go out, the whole definition of leadership is the ability to inspire people to go out and achieve something greater than whatever they could believe in. Again, that's not Webster, that's an Allieism. But, when you're leading people, whether that be into battle or that just be into the boardroom, you need to take time, as I think Robert said, was think about the people first. Put them first. We often used to talk about, leaders of people in the military, we eat last because we want to make sure that our troops are taken care of. It's just a simple reference. But when you think about it, if you are ensuring that your organization is prepared, that you use your influence to help them be prepared and grow in their careers, it comes back to you. Share a story where someone you invested time or used your influence to help them get to where they were going. And then when you saw them again, they were thankful that you took the time just for being able to invest a moment in their life.
For me, the story begins with the investments that people made in me. As I look back on that career, I absolutely know that I didn't attain all of those accolades by myself. I am humble enough to know that even though I may have done a great job at work, one such example, at least where an individual invested in me, and then I'll talk about someone else in just a moment. One such example is where I was a company commander at that time. I had 120 paratroopers under my charge, and I was closing in on the end of my career. The end of that command, period. Mm-hmm. My leader at that time, a battalion commander, found a nominative position at the joint staff level for a young captain to become an intern, a JCS intern, which is a very highly sought after position. And while that position may be on my resume even to this day, that's not what's special. What's special is that my boss went out and found that position for me. I was simply thinking about how can I get back to the Northeast and be close to my family, when he was thinking much longer, much further down the road than myself. And so he made that investment in me, and that's just one of many examples. With regard to people that I have either supervised or mentored over the years, I am incredibly proud to know that while I have retired from the military and moved on to my new career, I did not leave them behind.
Awesome.
They are in it today. Many of them have been promoted, and that's really what makes me feel the best. And so when I think about how to perhaps measure my impact, I hope will be felt in the number of people that have continued to advance. Exactly. Continue to advance in that structure, whether it was in the military, which I can really take a close look at who's being promoted today, in the corporate sector, leaving the military and opening up businesses and doing great work, leading as a nonprofit CEO, as an example. But what is most rewarding is the fact that those individuals are out there doing great things. And I really hope many of them can go beyond where I was in the United States military.
Folks, you're hearing it right here live on this show, talking about influence. And I think what I would tell you is, Rob, you're still leading with influence. And, whether they're, once you plant that seed in that individual, you just love to see it germinate and grow. And I get to see it as well. With my last corporate position, I got the same opportunities to see people who I brought into the organization who are now serving as executives. And, and the greatest accolade I guess I got paid was, Allie didn't take credit for our work. He made sure we got credit for our work. And I think that's another place where leaders can use is their influence to help make sure that they showcase. And I love the story of your battalion commander seeing something in you and saying, I'm going to invest some capital, some relationship capital here and help this young man get the foundation that will take him even further than I can. So right. Great. Thank you for sharing that story. And the key takeaways here, folks, is influence begins with authentic connection. I think that, I always want to call him General because he's not wearing it, but he's wearing it. Okay. And emotional intelligence is a leader's most strategic asset. And then, telling stories and shapes culture. Share with, in parting, what would you like to share with my audience out here that are the people looking for that next golden nugget, that next point of influence that helps cascade them forward?
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Well, my message is pretty simple, and it's very similar to the message that I gave to some of my mentees over the years and those that I'm still talking to today. And that is that if you're watching this podcast, there are no excuses. Don't waste this opportunity. Become a difference maker. You have been mentored by one of the finest here. Take this as an opportunity to step forward. Take this as an opportunity to lead. Take this as an opportunity to reflect on your own leadership style. And know that at the end of the day, people are not necessarily going to remember what you did for them, but they absolutely are going to remember how you made them feel.
Awesome. Folks, thank you so much. Please join me wherever you are out there. Go out and hit the like button. And thank Robert for coming in and sharing some of his time.
Appreciate it.
And folks, as we close this out, I just want you to reflect on, where have you been a point of influence in your life to help others attain? Where have you been a point of reference, or someone has leveraged their influence to help you get to the next level? Ask yourself, and how can I leverage my influence to help others move ahead? Those are true attributes of leaders: authenticity, influence, integrity, honesty. And remember, the reputation gets there long before you ever walk into the room. If it's 6 o'clock on a Wednesday, it's time for Off the Record, the Real Talk podcast with Allie Braswell. I'm your host. I'll see you next week when we'll actually have on Reginald B. McGill, and we're going to be talking about the voice of service. In fact, folks, just for you in the NPHC, that's 2 alphas in a row. I'm going to have to get a Sigma in here somewhere, but appreciate you. Thank you. See you next Wednesday.